Hi you guys, this is Jamie with Whatever's Clever Boutique, and today I am going to show you how to make a Milky Way using a new 40-ounce handled mug. I also have the Temu unboxing video on my YouTube channel as well, where I got a whole bunch of these amazing tumblers. I also have a link in the description box below for you to be able to download the Temu app and shop yourself for all of these amazing tumblers. I've been using the one that I made here for the last 2 days, and it has held water for, 8 to 12 hours. By water, I mean ice. And it's been great. I mean, every now and then you wonder what quality is going to be like for these kind of things, and this was a win for sure. And look at all these awesome colors with the coordinating lids. I just love them. And I'm going to use a black powder coated mug today. So I'm going to start by just roughing up that powder coating, and I'm taking care as to not get the stainless steel when I do this because we're going to leave the top exposed. So we're going to go ahead and tape off that top once we have it all sanded and wiped down with some rubbing alcohol. And then I'm going to go in with my epoxy method today. And this is a big tumbler. I'll just say that up front. Your arm might get sore doing this method. So I just cover the entire tumbler with epoxy, and then we're going to go in with a whole bunch of glitters. And most excitingly, I use all of the new Peachy palette glitters in this one. So we're going to go in with Regal, that's from the palette, Salem, Believer, and Petunia, those are our purples, Coronation, which is from the palette, Kokomo, and Pogue, those are going to be our teals. Now we have Heavenly, which is also from the palette, and Guy Diamond, those are our silvers. And then Oath, which is also from the palette, which is almost like a color shift. It's got some purple and some turquoise. And I didn't speed most of this glittering process up for you just so that you could see the actual, focus and time that goes into creating a Milky Way. Now, mine is a little bit different. I don't go with the standard full swirl on every glitter. So I basically just use the purple and the teal. Those are going to be my complete swirl glitters. And then I'm going to go in with some other of the teals and the silver, and those are going to be partials. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So now I have Coronation. I'm going to just go ahead and create that swirl. Now I'm going to take my Heavenly, and this is where you're going to see I'm not going to complete a swirl with this glitter. I feel like this adds so much dimension to these Milky Ways because it's not like a full wrap around the tumbler, if you will. It's like each way you look is a little bit different. And I'm going in with really light coverage here. We do not want to just go and lay down a bunch of glitter. They're not going to blend well. It just doesn't work. I've tried. So I just slowly am adding and layering. I have Salem here now, and this one I kind of did a full swirl in some spots and then did partial swirls in another with this one. Now with Kokomo, I'm just kind of doing some partial glittering here with this one, and I do go over the Coronation a little bit too to add a little more dimension in that one. Now we're going to start going back in with a little heavier hand with these glitters. So I'm going to start with the Heavenly and just go in a little heavier so we can start to blend these colors a little bit. And I'll start speeding this up for you guys a little bit, but not too much, so you can still really see what's going on. Now I'm going to take Oath. This is the first fine glitter that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to look for any dark spots that are still kind of showing through, which is that black underbase. And I'm just going to sprinkle that right over top of any of those spots. Now before we go into our fine glitters, I always clean my workspace to get any of that chunky glitter that is left on there. And I love my glitter bug from the Bowen. It is so great at that. So now we're going to go in with our fine cuts, and I'm going to take Belieber and just go right over that Salem glitter throughout this tumbler, and this is really going to start blending for us. Now I'm going to go in with Petunia over Regal. And Pogue is going to go over the Coronation and the Kokomo. Now we're going to go in with Guy Diamond right over top of all of the heavenly spots. Once we get all those laid, I'm going to tap the cup off really aggressively to get any excess glitter off. And now we're just going to coat the entire tumbler in Oath to just kind of meld everything together. Any spots that by chance didn't get covered, it's going to go in there and do the job for us. Now we're going to remove that tape, and then we're going to go in with our parchment paper, and we're going to pat down as much of that glitter as we can just to try and use less epoxy when we go to cover all this glitter up. And put a glove on here. Don't do what I do and use your bare finger. Once we get that on the turner, we're going to go ahead and tape off that rim again, and then we're going to go in with our first coat of epoxy. And I sped this up quite a bit. I did take a lot of time here on the handle. It's a very large handle, and I wanted to be sure to get everything covered here because I knew it was going to be a little bit tough to get all that chunky glitter covered. Go in and pop any of those air bubbles with our torch. And I used regular setting epoxy here, so I waited about 30 minutes before I removed that tape. And then I took a water wipe and just wiped off any of that excess. After that, I applied the tape again and went in with another second coat of epoxy just to smooth out the tumbler a little bit. There was still quite a bit of chunk after that first coat. Then we're going to take that off the turner, we're going to sand it, we're going to apply our tape again, and now we're going to go in with our micas. We had Spike from Simply Sarah's, Dasher from Nicole Merritt, Blade from Simply Sarah's, and Frosty from Peachy Olive Glitters, which is just going to give us a little dimension. Now we're going to go ahead and add a thin coat of epoxy here, and again I do the handle first, and that whole area just to be sure that I get all of that covered. And then I'm just going to go in around the rest of the tumbler. After that, with the excess epoxy, I'm going to mix in just a little bit of those micas with the epoxy. Then I'm going to go in with my popsicle stick here and just sporadically throughout the tumbler, I'm going to apply those micas and that frosty glitter epoxy. Once I get those all laid on the tumbler, I'm going to take a gloved finger and I'm going to pull each of those little stringy sections with my finger to try and kind of fan it out a little bit and not make it look like a harsh line. And I do switch little finger gloves in between each color just to not cross-contaminate. Then we're going to go ahead and hit that with a torch to pop any of those bubbles. Now we're going to take our cute little stars from Mr. Nola's glitter, and I'm just going to hand place those randomly throughout the tumbler. The colors kind of reminded me of Galaxy, so the stars were just fitting. Once that's done, we're going to pull the tape, reapply the tape after that coat is cured, and apply another coat of epoxy to cover those stars. Now we're going to tape off our top again, and we're going to go in with a really aggressive sand just to get everything knocked down. Like I said, it was really hard to get that glitter covered on that handle, so I spent quite a bit of time here sanding that handle down just so that I didn't have any bumpy spots in my final coats of epoxy, and I don't love that, so I spent some time here to really knock those down. Once we get it all sanded, we're going to go ahead and wipe our tumbler down with some 91% alcohol, and then we're going to go ahead and remove that tape. Now I'm going to go in with a metallic purple pinstriping, and I'm just going to go right across that rim section that we've been creating, just for a clean finish. I didn't love the way the glitter was looking, so I just wanted a clean, crisp line. And I really made sure this was pressed down really well so I didn't have any issues when applying my epoxy. And then I'm going to apply that electrical tape again, and we're going to leave a sliver of silver so that our epoxy is adhering to the tumbler and not just the little pinstriping we put there. And then we're going to go in with our 2 final coats of epoxy. And here is what we have. I absolutely love how this tumbler turned out. It's totally giving me Galaxy vibes. It's so amazing. If you guys want to go ahead and head over to Temu to take a look at all these different tumblers, I mean, they have, my unboxing unveils a whole bunch of tumbler maker supplies. If you want to go take a look for some ideas of things to shop for at a super discounted price, head on over to my YouTube channel, watch that Temu unboxing. But I absolutely loved how this turned out. Quality is great. I have nothing to complain about. If you guys liked this tutorial, found it helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell button if you want to be notified of any future tutorials. And all of the links to my socials, products that I used, discount codes are all in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching another tutorial, and I will see you guys next week.